Hey, good morning. I got the I and the coin wrong, so in this video I will try to go over that and reprogram my mind. Let's go.
I think it's be prepared to, have your take and be strong with your take, but then be prepared to be malleable, and I think that's the fun. I mean, most of the time people are wanting to know if you can be directed, and if you can be free, and I think you can surprise people. It's about really how relaxed you can be with the role. I know that's a sort of hard thing to, it's a hard thing to do because the whole very nature of auditioning means that you often feel very nervous and, feel you don't look right. But I think if you can that's one thing, you can get what you look like out of the picture, because that's other people's business, basically. I've learned that in later life. What you look like is not your responsibility. That is the responsibility of another department. So
This is like demon consume. What you look like or how others perceive you is not your responsibility. How you come across extrovertedly is not your responsibility. Seems like a demon consume thing. But yeah, I don't really get a stronger sense in the I so far.
Responsibility is to bring truth to the character. So I think especially girls, who probably go into an audition and spend too long before they go out doing their hair and makeup, and actually they'd be better placed just kind of, I don't know, walk.
Okay, right now she's giving like advice to girls who are so focused on their looks before auditioning. Okay, a bit of DE here.
Walking through a park and feeling free and making sure the lines are kind of in their body. Directors are sensitive people. Directors want to see what's in your soul, not what's here. So things that help me. When I started out, there was a book called Improv, which I found very inspiring because I think it just makes you think freely and makes you. I found it as a kind of. It's not something necessarily I've gone back to. There was also a book that David Mamet wrote called True or False, which was a great resource and sort of.
She strikes me as information dominant, so I would think she would be play last, not necessarily goofy energy dominant that just keeps making jokes and it's not about the conversation, it's about our personal experiences. She seems more on information dominant so far.
It sort of backs up one's instincts. And now I really love talking to actors about acting. I really crave that connection with other actors and sometimes.
Okay, now she's giving her own DI. I like doing this X thing.
Sometimes actors are quite shy to really discuss it because there's some part of it, the process, that feels that almost, I feel this, that somehow if you analyse it too much it might disappear. That if you try and touch it, it'll evaporate. But I've had a really good time recently. There's a photographer in America called Sam Jones who
name dropping other person
does a series of podcasts and video chats called Off Camera, and I really enjoyed seeing and listening to those because
sharing her FI.
Unlike most interviews that you get, which are edited and somehow curtailed and often steered towards an actor talking about their particular movie that they're in right now. It's a sort of hour-long meandering through someone's career, aspirations, what acting means to them, and often he kind of gets people into a comfortable enough space that you really get something that feels real and truthful, and for me that's just gold. And it's
okay, so I can see how she is sharing FI or DI in
the non-narcissist, the wife. What kind of a marriage is this? No pressure, right, Rosamund?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, in a way, I look at, Carrie Coon, who gives the most amazing performance as Ben's sister.
Okay,
twin sister.
So other person. She's talking about other person. It should be sleep report. Self, same old story about self. Or at least some type of self story.
To Margot. And Margot is a girl who is just relentlessly, authentically herself at every moment. She's the girl you sit in a bar and have a beer with. And I think You know, God, if Amy had been able to do that, you know, life might have turned out better for her. But Amy, because of this strange childhood, you know, her parents are psychologists. I mean, I don't think I need to say any more. But, you know, she's been sort of in the business of self-analysis, or, you know, her parents are analysts. She's been in the business of self-analysis since she was tiny. And I think she's so hyper-aware of how she comes across and what other people are projecting, that in a way she's got a very fragile sense of self. And
Okay, I think the reason why I typed herself as DE and FE and EJ single decider is because she keeps talking about these characters as if they're real. Like, instead of just, I mean, not that observers can't do that, but the way she talks about them is as if they're real. So, and also, right now, this is not her take. She's talking about this other character and her character and whatever. So it seems like DE to me still.
And she's always being something different for whoever's in the room. It's a, you know, some people might say that's a gift. It makes you very sensitive, and other people say it's a curse. But it certainly means it's quite exhausting to play. You know, it's not like you settle in and you think, okay, I got the measure of this girl. I know who she is. I know how to play her. She's in flux, you know. And even, you know, in the opening scene where you see Amy and
Yes, I
me
report
at a party,
here.
it's like on one level it's sort of, you know, romantic comedy a la David Fincher, which means, you know, it's
Name one
it's
of
not
those.
so romantic, troubling, and not, you know, it doesn't make people sit comfortably, and that's, you know, I knew getting involved with the David Fincher film that we'd make something that was hopefully provocative, and I think it is provocative.
It is. Well, what was the intimidation? Had you read Gone Girl before?
I hadn't read it before. I read it when I learnt that David Fincher wanted to talk to me about something, and then I learnt it was this book, and then I started reading it, and we had these Skype conversations as I read the book, and it was like being X-rayed. He's sort of, he just doesn't look, it's fantastic, because he's someone who's so singular in his vision. He's never going to look at the package that anyone's tried to erect around you. He's just going to look at your substrata. He's sort of peeling your skin away, going right for your DNA, you know, that's
Right.
why he's interested in. Yeah, you know, that was Gillian Flynn was being very funny yesterday, because she
Okay,
said,
again, talking about other people. I think maybe the clips I'm choosing, I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of like a funny kind of rock and roll. I do the red carpet. I get there really early. I'm the sort of the really uncool one who turns up very early to the carpet. First time I've ever been early for anything in my life, right? And then I disappear off and I set up a sort of station backstage somewhere. And it started off very organised. You know, I'd bring a robe and I'd bring all the kind of gear and I'd change into slippers.
Okay, this is like obvious. SI preparation is obvious. I go early, I bring all of my stuff, and it's all sensory, planning and sensory.
Like at the BAFTAs on Sunday night, I was like, oh, sod it. I just rocked up into the chairman of the Royal Opera House's office and just tried to put on a robe, and it just wasn't. I couldn't do the buttons. I said,
Okay, this is an observer conversation, not a decider.
I was like, if this guy had seen the kind of scene in his office, it's as sort of, it's as underhand as if we'd been sort of taking drugs or something, but it was the most innocent, pure kind of.
Well, now we have that image, and so.
One day when I'm sort of, you know, fearless and, you know, don't care what anybody thinks, which I endeavour to do.
Oh,
But,
she's
you know, one day I'll
spilling.
publish the
She's spilling a little DE. Everybody has DE somewhere. Yeah, I'm sorry. This video was just not helpful in any way, shape, or form. I think I have hard time moving my masculine and I. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Let me know what you guys thought of this class. It was interesting that she's a sci-fi. She's Martha Stewart. Interesting.